Alright, good stuff. Alright, since the stream's ready to go, let's get the game started.
Der Mann des Schattens, auf der Suche nach dem Abendrachen, ist noch nicht zurückgekommen. Der Herd der Finsternis grollt. Helba, Königin der Finsternis, stellt schließlich ein Heer auf. Alparon, König des Lichts,
You know, it's weird. My display is... okay. It was showing 0 viewers for a second, but I'm glad that's not true.
Der See von Alba brodelt. Der große Baum des Lichts fällt. Alle Macht zerfällt zu Tropfen im Tempel von Arche Köln. Wesen ohne Schatten, ihre Welt zerfällt zu nichts. Der Mann des Schattens auf der Suche nach dem Abenddrachen kehrt niemals mehr zurück.
If you think the game is being cryptic now, well, just you wait.
Call from Brennan M.
Okay, user registration is done. Now for a name. Yasuhiko's probably already there waiting for me. I'd better hurry.
Hooray! Well, alright, before I go any further, I should explain what I'm playing as here. I'm playing as a person in a fictional universe who is playing a fictional online role-playing game called The World. And this username is my character's name, and Kite is his character's name. That's right, there's 2 levels of meta here. You know what, I'm gonna use my online name. This is my character's desktop. This is as far as I get into the outside fictional world. Fun fact, the games... well, okay, another bit of explanation. This Dot Hack series was technically 4 games, but it's more like 4 discs and 1 game. You're absolutely intended to play all of them. Yeah, I guess it is. Oops, force a habit.
I'll check my email first.
Now, I am amazed that this person I'm working with, Yasuhiko, does not have an avatar. Because this person was one of the heroes of the first Dot Hack book, and he did, well, he's as much of a hero as my main character is going to be, and he's played the game a ton, so having no avatar is... it's absurd. And here's a little bit of explanation of very early game stuff. For one thing, it's explaining that there's supposed to be 5 servers, but we only have 2 right now. And it also explains some really important basic stuff about monster tolerances and elemental attacks, too. I'm going to explain those more as we go on, but... also, lore, background information. We're not even 3 minutes into the game yet, and we're getting a dump on this sort of info. It helps to lay down the kind of technology we're dealing with right now. For example, traffic lights and other traffic systems that detect traffic on their own to adjust themselves. Advanced virtual headsets. which include full bodysuits, I believe, or at least some versions do, but at least it's something that can detect your own movements and speech. And The World is the game to play, which is actually rather puzzling, because we're going to get into The World, and as this game, as a standalone thing, it's actually kinda trash. This is just a description of the kind of voice recognition software we're dealing with, and Ultimate, the Windows of our time. Also, they were referring to major news stories in very cryptic names. These sorts of things happen all over the place, and I feel like it's just how things are done in this universe. Also, all of the games came with supplemental anime discs called .hack Liminality. One per game, so 4 total, and you actually get bonuses in-game for if you look closely at the Liminality discs. Well, let's log in. First we got the message board. Now for a game which is 20 million strong, well, can you imagine a message board this sparse? I can only forgive it because apparently this version of The World just opened, so they might have just started a new thing like 5 minutes ago. Now I could swear I was certain that one of these notes mentioned that PvP was not in this version of The World, which is a huge departure. I think this is the only version of .hack where PvP is not a thing, and it makes the game it makes the game and the characters a lot more cuddly than usual. The first disc of Liminality starts with a guy being beat up pretty savagely by a corporate thug guy. That's closer to this game's idea of how people treat each other. So this is another thing about just elemental defenses and how to watch out for them and how to cancel them if you have to. And all of this is incredibly important, so important that the game decided to tell you twice, once in the board and once in the news, and I can forgive that because it is in fact that important. Most of the measures that you can take are not available right away, which is good because, well, I actually like this approach, like having the information available right away but not having to use all of it right away, just so that you're rewarded for studying early by being able to take advantage of this stuff earlier. I also love how hints for the gameplay are shown as discussion between players on a message board. And mostly I'm going through this so it's all checked off and I'm not distracted by it later. But mostly it's explaining how skills work. It is attached to gear. If you equip a gear and that gear has a skill on it, you can use the skill. Which means if you want a wide array of skills, you better start gear collecting. It also explains, excuse me, about things like elemental defense and how that's attached to order. Evasion, yes, random hit and evasion is in this game. And you know what, I'm just gonna quickly click all this because while all this information is useful, I know all of it already and I want to show off the game stuff because it is stuff to see. That's, well, this game is full of weird. I can't go any more elaborate or... you see, this game has gotten me confused on what to say and I haven't even started it yet. However, I will say that in the base game, The World, what you do is You go to a gate that sends you places and you use keywords to tell it where to send you. And these keywords determine the properties of whatever field you go into and the attached dungeon. And this is describing a feature of the game that is super important to pay attention to if you want to improve and customize your gear. Also, possible use for some of the usually useless things you can get from this process. And this is about trade. Alright. I kind of appreciate the amount of work they put into simulating an online role-playing game, because the best way to get gear that is of, moderate power for whatever disc you're in is to trade with other players. At the start, you're gonna get some junk gear, and if you're smart about your trades, you can turn it into much better gear through swindling other players, which are other actual players in universe but are NPCs for the purpose of this game. God, I can't. I just gotta get started, or else I'll never stop talking and confusing myself. Also, everyone who has stopped by, thank you for stopping by.
Made it.
This is Orca.
Hey, it's me, Orca, the Blade Master.
This is, in real life, the person who invited my character to play the world and get him addicted to it.
Whoa! You look so different from the real Yasuhiko. Nothing like the real you.
Yeah, you look really strong and capable and competent.
Hey, in this game I'm Orca, regardless of what I am in reality. I'm pretty well known here. What?
Now, there is a Japanese voice option for this, and the English voice acting for this is kind of borderline in a lot of places, but I'm still going with it. And the main reason is there's some cutscenes you can come across in the game that do not have text boxes.
No, you look great.
However, the voice is still done in the language that you chose, so if you're not a Japanese speaker, you will completely be unable to understand what they're saying.
Anyway, take this. Member address is the flash mail address you can only access in the world.
It's basically a friends list and the only way that you can get someone into your party.
With flash mail, you can exchange messages with others in real time, as long as you are in the world. It's mostly used by newbies to contact other players to form a party. Try it out by inviting me to join your party.
Only newbies send messages to each other, apparently.
First, press the triangle button to open the menu. In the menu, select Party.
This is as close as the game gets to a tutorial. And yes, Orca is definitely a scam.
Next, select Add. Names of players who gave you their member addresses will be listed here.
So I'm going to get carried by this guy, clearly.
Choose a player you want to invite to your party, and since you just started, you probably only have my member address. Now, press the X button twice to send a flash mail to me. Ah, got it. Join my party. It's kind of weird mailing each other when we're face to face.
I know, this interface is garbage. I should be able to just right-click you and say invite to party or something.
See? My name appears under your screen. That means I'm in your party. By the way, flash mail is only available when you're in a town. Oh, and you can't contact people when they're not logged into the world. People do have a life, you know. We're not online 24/7.
This is actually an important point, especially when you start getting more party members. You're often going to be restricted to who you can bring with you depending on, well, whether they're online or not.
In other words, you can't always count on the same member.
Which is exactly what I
Try
said.
to get
Okay.
as many member addresses as you can. You'll have more fun that way. Well, how you play is up to you. But since EXP and stuff isn't divided among party members, you really don't benefit if you go solo.
And considering that this is a really old-style online role-playing game, I'm really surprised at that particular mechanic. Of course, it makes a lot of sense for a single-player game.
Okay. Well, why don't we head off? There's nothing to worry about. I found a perfect place for newbies.
And you're gonna love to see exactly how hard he had to work to come up with this.
This is the Chaos Gate. Sort of transfer device that takes us from one place to another. Now, press the X button. In the world, each play zone is called an area, determined by a combination of 3 keywords.
Alright.
Select New Keyword. This is the keyword screen. At the top is the entry plate. You put the 3 selected keywords one by one for each part, A, B, and C. Left of the entry plate is all the keywords you have. You can collect more of them by reading your emails, the board, and from other players. Now, let's enter some keywords by starting with part A.
So let's see, I need to find a field for this new person. How am I gonna dig for this? Am I gonna check the forums? Am I gonna use my in-depth knowledge?
Select burst. Good.
Or am I just gonna
Next,
pick the
part B.
first 3 words that
Select
come up in the
over.
interface?
For the last one in, now you're done specifying the area. Oh, one more thing. You see the symbol on the left next to the keyword? That's the server symbol. It indicates which server you are currently logged on to. This symbol is Delta, so we're logged on to the Delta server.
Well, feel free to type into the chat, talk to me, ask questions. Doesn't even have to be about .hack, though I love talking about this game.
The list on the bottom right is the area status list.
So this is a pretty complicated looking chart, but you don't actually have to know about any of it to progress through most of the game.
See the jewel next to the field type at...
Blah blah blah. I
For
just said
example,
this isn't
check
important.
This we don't, but once we learn the effect, for more. All right, let's get going. Select warp. Before we get going, let me explain to you about the camera control. During the game, enemies will attack from all directions. The idea is to...
Yep, the right analog stick is an important thing.
I'll explain more later, but remember, you can only use skills on targets you can see. Basically, if you don't... First, rotate the camera. Push either
Oh, I
the
hate
L1
this
button
kind of
or the
thing.
R1 button to move the camera.
Like, I can't press X to skip any of
Good.
this.
Next, let's zoom in. You can zoom the camera in or out by using the right analog stick. Try it. Yeah.
I'm also
that's
wondering
it.
how he knows the way I'm aiming the camera.
Finally, you reset the camera by pushing the up. There you go. Remember, when the back. Okay. And this is the field. It's the lowest level when you want to. The combination of field type and weather determines that. For example,
Once
the
again,
elements also affect the type of monster.
this game has a ton of details that are not actually important to your ability to play or understand the game. There's some perks, but I mean, you don't have to. Maybe it's kind of like the anime in that way, I don't know.
Don't worry about it now. As you get used to it, combine words to get different elements. Now, let's get going on our quest. First, check the map. You see, in the dungeon's deepest level, there's a god statue.
What he's not
Usually holds a
explaining, by
rare
the way, is that blue thing to the left on the map. That is, that's an awful thing to leave out, but don't worry, we'll get back to that eventually.
Basically, the goal is to reach this statue. By you.
So, that item he used. He says that you can discover data on the map. What he doesn't explain is that not only does it reveal gates, but if you're in a dungeon, the entire layout is revealed, which is pretty nice in certain places.
Yellow areas on the map show magic portals, where you encounter monsters and
I wasn't controlling my character there.
For a basic attack, approach the...
And unlike every other monster in the game, this one doesn't fight back at all.
You started to get the hang of it, right? Okay. Press the triangle button to open the menu. Okay, then.
It was
Choose red
impossible for
from
me
the
to take
list.
damage, but I
When the target
have to heal
cursor
myself
appears,
anyway.
Select the target and press the X button to X. That's it.
Remember the
Freeze, yeah?
tutorial in DFO that asked you to use a potion? Well, I think one of the versions actually damaged you first, whether you got hit or not.
You can target a party member for recovery or remedy skills, and the enemy for attack skills. Remember, you can only apply skill before...
Yes! Yes! Yes, I am!
It's your turn to tell me what to do by using chat command.
No, I thought it was over.
Okay, next.
I'm already
Go ahead
healed,
and choose
too.
first. Well, it's good to be the boss, isn't it?
Well, not always. I've been a guild leader for a while, and there are downsides.
If you use it well, you can bunch up on the enemy. Or... That's it. When...
Alright. This guy is going to carry me for... oh... well, you know how these games work. It's not actually going to be for very long. And since that's happening, I don't actually have to worry about leveling up top before I go into the dungeon. We can just go ahead and dive in.
Now we can start exploring the dungeon. One thing you need to remember is that you can't gate out when you're in a dungeon.
Well, you can use an item to get out, which is instant and safe, so it's not that different.
To gate out and return to the town, you have to go back to the field. This is the treasure box, but you knew that, right? You should... This one's normal.
Oh, that's a pretty
This
good
one's
item,
booby
actually.
trapped. Notice a different color? Try to open it as is, and you're screwed. See? Now it's safe to open.
Fortune wires are dirt cheap. It's easy to stack 99 of them and not have to worry about chest traps at all. Also, even if you do open a trap chest, it's actually not a big deal. There aren't any super powerful traps. The drawback is that you just get a fortune wire for opening it, which I said is dirt cheap. Uh-oh.
What the? Did you just see that?
Yeah. Was that thing chasing her?
That
Yeah,
lovely
but-
lady.
Something like that on this level?
Nothing important should happen on a low level like this, but anyway. That lovely lady was on the cover of the first game. So you know she's super important. Even if you hadn't watched the anime, I'm told that she plays some role in Dot Hack Sign. Anyway, let's get going. I finally have control of my character. I don't know if the world's fun. I just started like 10 minutes ago. Anyway, you're not going to find anything super rare or valuable for treasure chests, but it's worth your time to unlock and open all of them anyway, and that's because you can use the junk to trade for better stuff, or you can sell them, and money is more important than usual for this sort of thing.
Better watch out. We're trapped in here.
Even though you can't buy any decent gear. Well,
In the dungeon, there are rooms with traps everywhere. The only way to get out of a trap like this is by activating all the magic portals in the room. All right, let's charge to that magic portal.
yeah, I don't actually have to do anything here. Also, I'm sorry for taking so much... Oh, yeah, right. I'm sorry for taking so much time in this completely newbie dungeon. It doesn't last very long, I promise. Although, while I'm here, I might as well just try to loot everything that I can. Usually you get recovery items and spell scrolls from chests, although you occasionally get junk gear too. Disco knife? Enemies have weird names, but, well, whatever. That yellow all portals open thing means that there's nothing else to fight here. It's usually a good sign. Means you don't have to worry anymore or spend time, effort, or money on buffing party members. So I kind of appreciate it.
This is the room where the statue is. There's only one of them at the dungeon's deepest level, and you can get rare items from it. That's enough adventure for now. Let's grab the treasure and get back to town, shall we? If we had a Sprite Oak Arena, we could warp out of here. But we don't have one.
This is a level 50 legendary player, and he doesn't even have a full set of standard dungeoning supplies.
So we gotta go back the way we just came.
Of course there's a story reason for this. Specifically, the incoming cutscene will not work if we were able to warp out like that. We got better weapons, but I'm not going to equip them yet, because, well, when I get the opportunity, there's something I want to do with them.
Or was the rumor true?
Take this.
Huh?
Please take this. There's no time. Please.
What's this?
A great force. The power it holds can bring forth either salvation or destruction at the whim of the user.
You're...
It's coming.
I don't like talking during cutscenes much.
Run. It'll kill you. What the hell? What is this? Something wrong. Nothing works. It wasn't supposed to be this way. I'm sorry. Get out of here!
Oh wait, someone left? Not cool.
What was wrong with Yasuhiko? Why was he upset?
You tell me. Why would someone be thrown off by that?
I wanted to ask him, but he wouldn't even pick up the phone. And then, the next day, I found out that Yasuhiko had been hospitalized. I rushed to the hospital, but they wouldn't even let me see him. But I guess it's better this way. I didn't want to see him all week, and he wouldn't want that either. But what the hell happened to him? I have a feeling that the key to it is somewhere in the world.